Ebusia for ha Ghanatube so model for snowy masai so atenase. Makwa kwabwa ensem ano bro. Ebusia for ensem no so mensan interesting. Yenkoti embra.
Coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, the NPP flag bearer race is heating up by the day. But who really sank the party in the 2024 presidential election? Well, guess what? Dr. Bawumia is saying that it was not him. He's not to blame for this. He's not saying this only in his words or in his opinion, but he references the Professor Aaron Michael Quay committee, fact-finding committee's report, which we're yet to see the full details, but he says based on what he's privy to in that report, the report's fact-finding mission concluded that he is not to blame. And he also references the Oseiche Mensa Bonsu committee report that also clears him of any wrongdoing, any blame whatsoever for the party's colossal loss and that monumental defeat in the 2024 presidential election. So the question still remains, who is to blame? Who should carry the liability of the party's performance in the 2024 presidential election? Because the flag bearer for that election says the fact-finding committee that was commissioned by the party says he's clean, he's not to blame for what happened to the party, losing by over 1.7 million votes. Says that's not him. This is what Dr. Bawumia said. Take a listen. I can't recall that, but we'll transcribe it in text. We'll put it on the screen right now. Follow me closely, right? Let's put it on the screen. This is it. He says it is clear that Dr. Bawumia, the presidential candidate, this was not the reason we, NPP, lost the elections. It was not because of Dr. Bawumia. The evidence is clear. And this has nothing to do with the fact that I am a Muslim or from the north. That is not part of it. That's what Dr. Bawumia said. And we're going to play that audio to you shortly. I considered the election on Sunday, and by Monday I started hearing the gossip. And what was this gossip? First, the gossips claimed that Christians did not vote for Dr. Bawumia because he is a Muslim. I said, don't believe this. If you look carefully, the NPP went into the primaries with 10 candidates. 9 were Christians, and I was the only Muslim among them. If NPP did not like Muslims, will they have elected me as their flag bearer? Question. They wouldn't have, because they had 9 other options, but I was the only one they chose, securing 61% of the votes. Essentially, this shows clearly that we do not want selectiveness in the NPP. The party itself has demonstrated that. That's Dr. Bawumia's words in there, clearly indicating. In fact, continuously you hear the reference to the religious and tribal bigotry in there. So how, really, if that's pronounced that much in this NPP flag bearer race, is one conversation we will have in the coming days. But take a listen to Dr. Bawumia, on what I just showed to you in words. This is it. Take a listen.
They are clear. I say, Dr. Bawumia, the presidential candidate, and yet the fault said they lose the election. It is not because of Dr. Bawumia. It's the whole black and white, and yes, of Israel, and I say, we cramoni. And they say, and come on, Sana, Chairman Sabon's report, also, Omoye wa Ashanti, the same conclusion. Conrad Adenauer Foundation, the same conclusion. So, conclusion, no, I say, Dr. Bawumia was not at fault. But, Chinchina, Kongonsa Fuono, almost Dr. Bawumia, and then fault. Kongonsa no, I'm more to Dino. I'm more to Pa. Now, the kind me concede election on Sunday. by Monday na me start meeting concern. The kind almost say Christopher Omo to ama Bawumia because Bawumia kraboni semoti. Na Usha na me say wait there Ninjindi because Usha ye call primaries NPP yenyasa na ye call primaries no NPP ye nipa 10 na ye call 9 Christopher me na me ye kraboni. Nanka NPP for almost background before Uncle Omobayini. I'm Omoyini because Omo 9 other choices. But me, na the mammy 61% out of the 10. Now with the mammy, 7 to Francano and my NPP. Yep, pay a yimo, ever NPP more. NPP, Chile say you pay more, ever NPP. And sa NPP, the same NPP, best hand the Chibium, Akoka say, Uye Kramoni, and the end to power. Emphasis. Enti sa propaganda no minjindi na usha soa data no anka usha Christopher omoye parliamentary candidates Emma NPP omoye 236 out of the 276 constituencies 236 anka a religious voter say anka omo nyina abenya vote actually Dr. Bawumia said the cramodinti. But Ambanosa, Usha data no more, Mina many votes, HN Bebre, Yasa, Omubo modern pa Emma, MPs, no, Omubo modern pa Emma, many constituencies, maybe Benya votes Essin, Omo, especially Ashanti Po, Raf, Ubuame pa, Menya votes Essin Raf, Ewa Bakwaya.
Well, so that's Dr. Bawumia there, and essentially repeating what I just showed to you in words. Well, after he said this, addressing some party supporters, and the campaign has been ongoing ahead of that crucial flag bearer elections and the next 4 months ahead of the party. Kennedy Agyapong, one other flag bearer hopeful, former Central Member of Parliament, has hit back strongly at this statement made by Dr. Bawumia, and here it is. We put it on the screen right now. It's responding directly to Dr. Bawumia. He says, over 1.7 million vote loss. Dr. Bawumia says it wasn't the flag bearer, religion, or tribe. He knows this because of the Michael Quay's report, which only he seems to have read. So, since you are the sole custodian of the truth in this said report, please enlighten us. It is not my fault that the end, essentially responding directly to what Dr. Bawumia said. Now, this is Kennedy Agyapong's position, that to the extent that he and the other flag bearer hopefuls have not seen this Michael Quay report, which, according to him, Dr. Bawumia is the only one who seems to have read it, then they should be enlightened. The others who have not read the report should be enlightened. And here's why we want to have a conversation on this, really, and how things are playing out and shaping up ahead of that flag bearer elections for the new Patriotic Party. And this is not the first time that Kennedy Agyapong, Dr. Bawumia, and in some cases even Brian Agyapong have hit at each other in various forms. Professor Samuel Edujemfi is a political historian, a senior lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, joining us on Zoom. Professor Edujemfi, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And if you can unmute for me. And now you hear Dr. Bawumia in what I just played to you and what I showed to our viewers as well. He says, well, I am not to blame for this over 1.7 million vote loss in 2024 presidential election. And I'm not saying this. The Professor Michael Quay report, fact-finding committee report, in fact, it confirms this. Oseiche Mensah Bonsu's committee report also confirmed that I am not the one who caused the party's defeat. So why blame me, essentially? That's the question he's asking, Prof.
Thank you very much, my brother. The truth is that it's all about leadership. The party's campaign toward the election was organized by the flag bearer. He had his own communication machinery, and he had his own, if you like, sectors or sections that held specific, if you like, portfolios to push or drive the campaign. And so we have what we call ultimate responsibility. The collective efforts of these people culminated into the defeat, but that was superintended by the flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. It is also clear to add that he represents the face, or represented the NPP as the face of the party, the flag bearer, offering the kind of leadership that would lead them to the kind of defeat they experienced. 1.7 million votes. It leads us into whether he was a likable candidate. He was a candidate that was competitive enough comparatively when it comes to the former president, now the president Mahama. Whether he had the capacity to be able to contest him boot for boot in that regard in all sectors and departments that Ghanaians were measuring up to, in terms of the economy, in terms of the state of affairs that the country found itself. And so fundamentally, the candidate Bawumia could not match up the candidature of Mr. Mahama, President Mahama. That was a critical question to look at. Again, he was a candidate who had just served as the flag bearer and was serving as the flag bearer even during the period of the contest. And that all the failures of the government were not only attributable to Mr. Akufo-Addo, the former president, His Excellency, but also it was attributed to the vice president, who was part of the cabinet, and for that matter, who served as the economic guru of the party, and for that matter, the part of the executive head administering the state. The people of Ghana did not insulate him from President Akufo-Addo. They did not insulate him from the failures of the NPP as a party and from the failures of the NPP in government. And I've said that the level of recklessness that, if you like, characterized the leadership of the NPP as a party, and also the NPP as a party that had formed government, was unprecedented within the period under review. He goes into elections with such lack of confidence, lack of capacity, and lack of acceptance from the people themselves. And so what we see as the outcome of the results, 1.7 million difference, is the fact that the NPP's leadership, superintended by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, could not present a right message. The history within the period under review did not add anything positive to what they were calling for the people of Ghana to give them a third term. And more so, candidate Mahmoud Bawumia, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, was not a candidate that was likable within the period under review. The question is that, are the people of this country going to overlook the ills that are tied to him in terms of the kind of governance he and Mr. Akufo-Addo offered to Ghana? Are Ghanaians going to overlook that when he's giving the nod as the flag bearer of the NPP the second term? Again, how is he going to be able to show up his performance to be able to get 1.7 million votes and cross to be able to win the elections? We need to also ask the question whether within the internal schisms of the party, the challenges within the party, the misgivings of the people, the divisions within the party, which continues to rise, how is he able to offer that leadership to unite the people? Indeed, some have argued that the level of divisiveness today has risen to the apex because of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's posture and how he's allowed the people around him to attack persons like Agyapong and the others. It was shaking of responsibility, refusing to admit guilt, and rather place the failures of the party on other persons instead of accepting the rule of ultimate responsibility. Such lack of leadership in this scheme, where he refuses to accept the fact that there is ultimate responsibility and is the one who should be blamed and not any other person or the team he put together or his own abysmal performance whilst in government and also in conducting or mobilizing forces, marshalling forces for the election. Whilst refusing to do this, he is exhibiting the tendency of an individual who lacks capacity to lead. Because
I see.
Within the realm of ultimate responsibility, what you must do is admission of guilt.
But then,
mea culpa.
But Prof, he doesn't speak in oblivion. Okay, he references the Professor Aaron Michael Quay report, and then also the Oseche Mensah Bonsu report. In fact, Professor Aaron Michael Quay's report was a fact-finding committee's report that, according to the party, went around engaging all the persons within and without, ordinary Ghanaians as well. And they came to that conclusion, according to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, because we haven't seen the details of this report. He says that conclusion is that he was not to ultimately blame for the party's monumental defeat in the presidential election. So that's the context in which he speaks, on the basis of his knowledge of the Aaron Michael Quay Committee's report, Prof.
I will tell you this. Ghanaians are getting better. Ghanaians are growing. Insofar as our democratic culture is concerned, Ghanaians are looking for pragmatism. They are looking for charismatic leaders. They are looking for servant leaders and leaders that are willing to be able to turn things around for this country, and not individuals who shirk their responsibilities and blame others in other circumstances. And I think that the NPP must begin to reflect on some of these wayward comments that we are beginning to hear. We as a people of this country must begin to also look at the broader macro analysis of leadership, and what we deserve is better than the kind of narrative we hear come up within the NPP. It's quite challenging, and to an extent sometimes also even too nauseating. And I hope and pray that I will not be hearing some of these things time and again. If a leader cannot accept ultimate responsibility and he feels that it is the cause of others, what are the details of Michael Okwei's report, Professor Okwei's report? Why was he not able to fix those loopholes or gaps or challenges that are seen in Okwei's report as having culminated or led to the, if you like, the defeat of the NPP? What efforts did he make to resolve some of these questions? Or, as he's been elusive, these questions or quandary or challenges were also elusive to him, and that the forces he put together were not able to investigate enough to ascertain what were the challenges, at least a SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats that were existent within the period under review. So they walked like blindfolded men into the elections. Is that what they are saying? And that they were, if you like, it was not clear in their minds in some of the indicators or elements or items that are seen to have caused the defeat of the NPP. Were they not glaring enough? These are matters I've talked about, yes, since 2015 up till now. It's a shame that the NPP itself is now setting aside science. It is setting aside, the science of election, the science of politics, and it's talking about something else. The truth of the matter is that what efforts did he put in place to properly engineer a process, fashion out a strategy that would have dealt with these gaps? Because they ought to have done a SWOT analysis in the first instance, and if that was not done,
I see. But then again, you also, because you are in the academia and political analysts for that matter, had some of your colleagues make the point that the outcome of the 2024 election was a referendum on the Akufo-Addo-led government. Obviously, what we thought Bawumia was part of, but the face of that government was Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and it was a referendum on his leadership and governance. How about that?
I have said over time that His Excellency, the former President, Mr. Akufo-Addo, was not able to please the Ghanaian populace. Made a lot of promises, and a lot of these promises, the NDC in particular and several Ghanaians believe that they were not only whispered through the whistlings of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, but the euphoria and the excitement he added to the campaign within those times when they were looking, referred to him as an economic messiah, whiskey, and all that. A lot of names were given to him, and some have said that the victory came to the NPP of Ramata to Mr. Akufo-Addo, the former President, His Excellency, because of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. They believe that he had a certain magic wand to be able to, through a certain abracadabra movement, turn the fortunes of Ghana around. And that was going to, they were going to hit the bull's eye through the technical efforts or know-how of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Over time, it said that this gentleman, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the gentleman in question, the former vice president, was pushed to the periphery because it was a friends and family government that was set in place by Mr. Akufo-Addo, which sought to, if you like, repudiate or denounce or reject Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and any other kind of leadership he sought to offer. Among other things, it said that he was even unhappy about the e-levy, right? And that he had protested privately to no avail. There were things he had tried to question and challenge, but he could not have his way. His opponents or critics have said that, look, why is it that whilst all these things were going on, you did not bring it up openly and challenge your own government and say that if my government continues this way, I will not be part of this government and I'll choose to resign even as a vice president? Because that in itself also, some have said, also defines your personality and the kind of leadership you can offer the party and the country. Because several right leaders, well-meaning Ghanaians, who are placed in positions, sensitive positions, like he was placed, would resign when they believe that their ideas were not respected. My own uncle, Professor Stephen Ade, the former rector of GIMPA, was placed on one of the boards. You remember some years ago, he felt that things were going on. He did not agree with those positions, and he left. Several well-meaning Ghanaians who were given some portfolios here and there from time to time sought to leave. You saw the contestations and the battles between Konkensiaka and the former president. If you remember, those days, those cities. So there are challenges that would come up from time to time where a leader, so to speak, would feel that ethically, morally, the ethics of leadership and my own personal ethics would not allow me to play a part in a role.
This particular reference has gone on.
Who have given you a social contract.
Exactly. And then look, how things are playing out and shaping up in this flag bearer race is one to watch. And well, Kennedy Agyapong is the only one amongst the 5 who has responded to this position as put out by Dr. Bawumia. We'll see how the coming days will look like on this, because the party is still in the process of as it were, remolding, diagnosing the laws and re-strategizing as they go into this flag bearer race. But this is Ghana Tonight. Professor Samuel Edu-Jemfi, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Comment section, no, with your comments, no, and the amount of prayer I can kind Nina am of a make I will be say a Ghanatube. So, it was your form. When you subscribe here, please subscribe, hit the notification bell for more updates. And one more of us, see you.